I thought, bloody hell, you've given it all that, and we've caved in.
This is Jonathan Aggie with Fifth Pro Boxing Fans, joined by Ben Shalom. Ben, we're here at the press conference. You've announced Chris Billam-Smith against Riapo, the rematch at Selhurst Park, June 15th. How excited are you to get this fight over the line?
Yeah, it's been a long time, hasn't it? You know what? It's difficult because it was the same with Bawatsi and Aziz when you have both guys and they've done so well in their careers, but all as a promoter you can do is deliver. I mean, Chris Billam-Smith, what a journey it's been to this point. 4 fights in Bournemouth, becoming world champion, selling out his stadium. Richard was one of the first signings we had when we started at Boxer, and so to see him develop into what was really a brawler in those first 10 fights to a very cultured boxer and one that's developed really, really well. Had to be a little patient, but he's got his opportunity, and this is what dreams are made of. You know, to fight for a world title is one thing. To fight for a world title in a stadium in your hometown, as Chris Billam-Smith will tell you, it never gets better than that. That is every boxer's dream, and I have to thank Palace and Steve Parrish, because you've seen so many fighters dream of that, and for whatever reason it doesn't get over the line. People don't see the vision. They've seen the vision. They want to create a fantastic event, a festival experience, and they've always been very, very fond of Richard. So we get to see a huge night, and delighted that we got it over the line.
You delivered Chris's dream venue, and now you're doing the same for Riapo. Is that something you wanted to do when you came into the game? You know, if fighters want these big stadium fights, you want to deliver that for them? Yeah,
look, there's a lot of noise in boxing, especially around us, and sometimes you have to realise what's important, and the fighters that believe in you and trust in you and that treat you right, you want to deliver everything for them. You know, I'll run through brick walls for both of these guys. I really will. And to see them living out their dreams, to see them changing their lives, their families' lives, incredible experience, especially from both being at British level and being taken to world level and fighting in their hometowns, fighting in stadiums. It's really special, but the pressure's on now. They both got what they wanted, and they both have to deliver, and may the best man win. And 2 credits to the sport, 2 honest professionals, and 2 guys that have worked very hard to get to the top.
What's at stake here for the winner and loser? Like, where does the loser go if they fall short?
Luckily, they're in a stacked division with a huge amount of talent, and one that we're very fond of and keeps delivering the goods. We've got Isaac Chamberlain on the card against Sislak, so he'll be looking at this fight as well, for Dal Riley, and plenty of others in that cruiserweight mix. So I think the loser there's big domestic fights. I think the winner will be looking at unification. And spoke to Chris. His dream is to fight in the States, and that Ramirez fight's really, really big for him. But Richard, he's got an eye on heavyweight. He still likes the Lawrence Coley fight because of the history there. So, look, they've both got big options, but at the moment, both of them focused on June 15th.
I've never seen an opponent that Ben Whittaker's fought yet give it to him like that in a press conference. What do you think that's going to do for Ben going into that fight?
You know what, though? I have to say, I was quite disappointed when he first started. I thought, bloody hell, you've given it all that, and we've caved in. And then he came and said, anyway, in the end it got going because Ben hadn't forgotten what had been said. But I like it because you've got a real puncher there that is just coming to take his head off, and he's confident, and he's really, really, has been begging for this fight. And so I like it because that's what Ben has to get used to, because anyone that wants to fight Ben from this on his career is going to come and really want to take his head off and really be motivated, and it's entertaining, and Ben's rising to it, and these are the stages that Ben wants to be on. I actually think this is going to play right into Ben's hands. I think the more angry you are and the more you try and go for him and take his head off, I think that is made for Ben Whittaker.
On Ben, about a month ago, I asked you about comments from Eddie saying that, one day he'll become a Matchroom signing, and you told me he's got a long-term contract with Boxer. Then I believe last week Frank Smith said, I heard that he's got 1 fight left. Do you want to just clarify what the situation is there?
Look, I think he said last week himself his comments are irrelevant, so I don't know where that's come from. But no, of course he's in a long-term deal. he's someone we just started with, and we're doing a fantastic job, and he's doing a fantastic job. He's a major part of our business, and the key is activity now. Activity. We've seen, obviously, the first year, a couple of injuries, it was difficult, but he's fought December, he's fought February, March, now fighting June, and he's blowing up. And to be over in the States with NBC and to have a broadcaster that interested about an English fighter that's fought 6 fights is unheard of. It really is unprecedented. That's the trajectory that he's on, and yeah, really, really glad to be a part of it.
It's quite amazing because, you know, you speak to people, you know, who aren't boxing fans, and then you tell them about Ben Whittaker, and they're like, yeah, I've seen that guy on Instagram or whatever. So have you ever seen a fighter get this much traction?
No, but in fairness, the attention to detail. When we sat down, I'd never sat down with a boxer that was so meticulous, not just inside the ring but outside the ring. We sat down, we plan out, we look at his ring walks, we plan his vision, we look at what his kits, what he does in the ring, what the opponent, like everything is to a T, and the plan was to make him the face of boxing. People laughed at us then. I'm sure they're still laughing at us, but the numbers don't lie and the trajectory doesn't lie, and we just got to keep him active, keep his feet on the ground, never work with a fighter that works as hard as him, and yeah, I think we're going to go right to the top.
And just a couple of updates. We thought Buatsi Yard might land on this card. Frank Warren's, you know, saying he's had a dispute with Yard. What's the latest with that fight?
Frustrated, and yeah, there were talks about potentially coming on this card, but just frustrated. I've said it, you know, for me, for Josh, that's the fight that we want. That's the fight I think the fans want. And we've been making British fights now consistently and doing really well with them, and we're seeing how they sell. And that Wardley Clark one at the end of Buatsi Aziz, and now into this one, they're special nights, and that would have been a very special night. I'm still hopeful because I think it's the obvious fight.
Are you exploring other options for Buatsi?
Yeah, we have to now. Yeah.
And Adam Nazim, Harlem Eubank, I spoke to Shane about that. He says, you know, there's talks ongoing. Is there any update you can give us?
No, that fight is happening. Adam, after Ramadan, had a little issue, and so we're hoping to get a date and a venue for that very soon.
And final one, Wardley Clark. The first fight was unbelievable. Any talks about a rematch, and if that happens down later this year?
I think it's the biggest fight for both of them. I know there's some murmurs from both camps. I think they both know that. I actually thought I wouldn't be talking about it this soon because it was less than a month ago, and that was one of the most brutal wars I've ever experienced. But they seem to have recovered a little quicker than expected, and I think they both see that as the biggest fight potentially out there. They've both got big options now, as we can see in the heavyweight division, but money-wise, it's the biggest fight for both of them.
Ben, appreciate your time. We'll see you next week in Cardiff.
Thank you, mate.